I'll keep this hand if we had a white source. Maybe I keep anyways. We can just like Mulldrifter. We have Solitude or Grief to buy some time in the early game. Any fetch land makes this hand very good. I guess maybe not that good. I'm gonna mulligan. Interesting hand. I think I'm supposed to put back the rights. It's close. Just having Solitude as early interaction is so important. Don't you have to play the third match because it gets still 3-2? I drop at 0-2. It's part of the 2-2 or worse prediction. Sorry, doubters. Existence, thank you for 10 months. Appreciate ya. Okay, drew Aethermage's touch. Good draw. Yeah, I think it's generally not good EV to play at 0-2. So I'm pretty sure I'm just supposed to Grief Ephemerate this turn. Then any fetch land or Persist lets me Archon next turn. Oh, sorry, not the doubters. Apologies to the 3-2ers. But, you know, I always like to drop it 0-2-1-2. Maybe they should ban Grief, huh? Maybe they should ban Grief. What the hell? What would my opponent be playing that they would just concede to a turn 3 pitched Grief in Mardu colors? Mardu turn 3 pitched Grief. Well, they've at least... Yeah, they're conceding to conceal information. It was creativity. They're playing Blackleaf Cliffs. Creativity almost wouldn't ever play it, right? Through the breach. That's an okay guess. Yeah, maybe just embarrassed to show the hand. I think I'm probably not supposed to get 2 out of line. I think I'm just going to click submit. Although, no, let me play like... No. I'm just not going to overthink it. Mardu Greasefang? I think that's an amazing guess. I think it's a really good guess. Mardu take on the Rakdos Blink deck? Maybe. Oh, no, Thoughtseize, they're so scared of this card. I don't think that's a good strategy. Like, there's no deck that's... They're not going to concede to a Thoughtseize this game, you know? They're conceding for information because their hand was really weak. Okay. We can keep this. Okay, they got the ley line. I was kind of worried about that. I didn't bring in my Teferis, which are my answer to ley line, so I'm currently answerless. That being said, I can just try to go Mulldrifter Ephemerate out of this game. Does seem like my opponent's playing some kind of like, you know, Mardu Reanimator deck. Would not mind a Solitude, I guess. So attack with Neonate. If they have a creature in their hand, they get to sack the Neonate and reanimate with Priest. So they do. It's an Archon of Cruelty. I will not concede. I have Solitude in the deck. Fable. All right. I would obviously like prefer to Ephemerate the Mulldrifter, but I think I just kind of have to find a Solitude now. I'll concede if I don't. Well, I suppose Aethermage's touch is barely good enough for reason to keep playing. Discards 2 ley lines. Bleh. Don't think I need a third white source. I'll discard to Godless Shrine. Well, the draw of this game definitely looking a lot better than last game. So bring in our Teferis to be able to bounce the ley lines. I'll bring in the Ashiok as Graveyard Hate, and you know the self mills, of course, nice here. I don't know if I want the Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize seems okay. I don't know if there's room after boarding in these other cards. I think against the Leyline deck, I'm kind of like down to trim a couple copies of Unmarked Grave. The 4th copy of Grief is probably fine, and although I guess if I'm gonna be considering Thoughtseize, I should probably leave in all these. Maybe I'm cutting 4th Solitude. You don't really want to draw. Yeah, I probably cut 4th Solitude. You don't want to draw like multiples that often or that early either. Mono black coffers. Okay, definitely gonna keep this. They're gonna mulligan to Leyline. You kind of need to draw land. We also have Solitude, Ephemerate. I guess not. Maybe we don't want to pitch the Teferi, but have the Solitude to buy some time too. I really dislike playing Mazemind Tome over Profane Tutor. In my opinion, Profane Tutor is not a flex spot. It enables an insane degree of consistency and flexibility in the deck. I think it's way better than Mazemind Tome. I know that people are scared of Teferi Time Raveler. I generally recommend having no fear and just accepting that you're going to get Teferi'd some amount of the time is my recommendation to you. I would definitely play Profane Tutor over Mazemind Tome. I also like am not in love with like the goofy main deck Relic. Like I don't know, like Relic is just like a metagame hedge, or Relic as a cantrip type effect. I've never been a huge fan of that style. I also say like playing no copies of Golos is a mistake. Golos is a better 5-drop than Invoke Despair. And you're already playing the Cascading Cataracts in the sideboard. I would definitely be interested in. They would definitely be interested in getting Golos is in the main deck over at Liliana's or March of Wretched Sorrows, or just kind of like whatever you want, really. Okay, I haven't drawn my land yet. Do I Ephemerate my Solitude? I think I saved the Ephemerate for the Mulldrifter. I don't think I'd like care that much about having the 3/2 lifelinker in play. Did I test Brainstone when I brew with Aethermage Touch? No. Cottage is a way better. It's so much better than Brainstone. It's crazy. You don't need the extra Enabler. I'm not a big fan of Necromantia. It's okay. I know some players like it. I think it's not for me. I think we Ephemerate so we can deal with another Archon. Well, if we Ephemerate to deal with another Archon, we're pitching Aethermage's Touch instead of Ephemerate, which I don't think is a great strategy. Okay. I'm going to bounce the Leyline, so if they do get the Archon back, I at least have the Leyline bounced. Touch is an unknown. Sorry, what's the thought there with it being unknown? I mean, I just want to have the Aethermage's Touch in the hand is the thing. You would pitch Teferi? Teferi is so important to bounce the Leyline, though, but maybe you're right. Didn't really consider it too seriously. I think that this line ended up working out really well. I don't know. Not that that means it was the best, but you know, I don't always love doing deck techs like this either, because it's like I recommend I want to play 4 Coffers 2 or Borg. I want to play the Profane Tutors. Like I've played a lot of like this list on stream, and I've got really like hard opinions on like the decisions I have, right? But I always feel kind of bad because it's just like I hate that the deck tech feels like I'm just saying, oh, just play exactly what I've been playing. But like there's a reason I have like selected the cards I've been choosing to play instead of like this variant, you know? And like we've talked about like all of these decisions too. Like the Mazemind Tome we've talked about a lot. We've talked about March of Wretched Sorrow. We've talked about the Necromancias, and I'm just not as big a fan of this version. Okay, their hand is not very good. I'm gonna save the Ephemerate for Archon. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. I also don't like sideboard Inquisition. Inquisition, like either main deck or not at all. Yeah, we're up to 3 cottages. We cut the Teferi for the main for the 3rd cottage, and I've been liking that decision for now. Maybe Ephemerate so that you can hold up Ephemerate on it again. Yeah, I just don't think I'm prioritizing it that much. Like, being able to answer a second Archon there. Like, if they second Archon me and I Ephemerate my Solitude, I just have no resources left, and I also don't have the Solitude. They have got a lot of cards there. I think I'm just, like, not trying to win that game. I have Golos to the side. Yeah, I'm saying, like, you should have 3 Golos main, 1 Golos side in the Karn version. Like, you should play any number of Golos over any number of Invoke Despair. I think it can be good to play both. But what I'm saying is Golos is better than Liliana. It's better than March of Reds and Sorrow. In my opinion, it's like one of the best cards in your main deck. And it's so good you should be playing 3 main, 1 side. Not that you should, like, you know, just the one in the side, I think, is what I'm saying is incorrect. They took Teferi. I cut a Mulldrifter for Deluge and liked it. I would never cut any copies of Mulldrifter. Mulldrifter is way too synergistic with Persist, which is Cottage, Ephemerate, Aethermage's Touch. You can't cut. I don't think it's correct to cut any copies. You can't Ephemerate a Memory Deluge. 35-year resub. Thank you, Matthew. Alright, I'm just going to draw step grief them with the Aethermage's Touch and be done, I think. Okay, good can, gonna keep. One's playing Gigantha. Is the overall record posted from just this deck today? This is the overall record with this deck, although we've made a couple changes. But we haven't played 43 matches today. This is over like just this week, Monday, Tuesday, and today. I think Sunday too. My like Sunday testing. There's like one off-stream league in the record here. I'm keeping track because I'm going to be just like posting this number in my Channel Fireball article. Oh, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. And I think a lot of people are interested in it too, so having the number up is kind of nice. Elvish Reclaimer. Hopefully they're not on main deck Bog. Although I guess I now just can play around main deck Bog. Is it really bad for the deck of Tainted Indulgence draws 2 without discard? It doesn't happen that often. It's come up a couple of times. The 2 times it's come up, it's been fine that it just drew 2. It's very rare for this to just be a draw 2. No! Are you kidding? They just had the Bog in the hand? You're having a laugh. They just had the Bog in the hand. My freaking glasses. Golly. You're gonna love the spruce, says my opponent. You're gonna love it. Alright, I guess we just drew Unmarked Grave anyways. Probably should buy a backup pair of glasses than the one I have. But like, this is my first pair of glasses I've ever, like prescription glasses I've ever had, and it's like I'm not super used to having them yet, but my head just like kills me when I don't have them on. How do you feel about adding 1 Thoughteize main board to Cottage, add Saris to sideboard? You could play 1 Thoughteize as like your 1 of flex spot. I would prefer to play the 3rd Cottage. You could do that. I don't think that making room for Sarah's Emissary is like, oh, interesting. So they're playing like Devoted Druid Rocco. Dude, their mana looks awful. So yeah, what I don't like about that plan is like Sarah's Emissary doesn't play very well with Aethermage's Touch. Since he doesn't have an ETB effect, there's a lot of times I think you're going to be playing the card and not getting any value off of it. So while Emissary is a card I've liked as a sideboard option and like Reanimator in the past, I think at the time of making this comment, I think in this version, it's better to not play it. That being said, you can still Unmarked Grave for it, it's fine. But it just doesn't play very well with Aethermage's Touch. Because my opponent is playing an Urza Saga deck, so I would think a lot of their graveyard hate is going to be artifact based, but they're also playing the Bog, so maybe not. But they are playing a Saga deck. 2 days ago, I was playing. I was X8. I think the record is slightly off. Might be right. What was my tweet? Hold on, let me sideboard real quick. I think you might be right, actually. I got the Griefs. Ashiok's probably pretty good. Teferi good in Saga. Not as good on the draw. Ashiok's also kind of good in Saga. Starting that 3rd chapter. Last year I finished 26-9. Oh yeah, I think that you're right. We could take a look. Hold on, we could take a look, and we could reverse engineer it. I did have to like retype it in this morning. But let me just double think here. I think I want to try this. I might want. I don't think I want Prismatic Endings. Yeah, we should be able to just look at the end of the stream. I'm gonna keep this and just discard Archon turn 1. I usually keep this hand. It's like not amazing though. Okay, so the last stream was on Tuesday with this deck. And yeah, I was 20. Okay, I was 20. Yeah, I was wrong. So I was 26-8 last stream. Today I am 6-2 on the day. We 5-0'd, 0-2 drop, and now we're 1-0. So the record should be 30, 32-10. Is that right? Oh no, because we won this game. We lose this game. We lose this game, so 26-9, so it should be 32-11. Okay. Sorry. Scammed. They didn't reveal Gigantha, so they have Endurance in their deck post-board, probably. Oh, 32-1? Scammed again. Okay, more accurate data, though. Alright, they get Cauldron complete. That's fine, I guess. I think I play a Cottage this turn. Well, 1 Priest for the 3rd Cottage, just for counterspell matchups. I don't think in the main deck you should play both a Priest and an Unburial Rites. You could play Priest over Rites. I do think that Rites is better. It flashes back for 1 less mana. It doesn't cost you life when you flash it back. I found that the counterspell matchups to be not as big of an issue now that... okay, I mean, we have the Rites and the Unmarked Grave in the hand. Might be able to stabilize. Since you persist at 2 mana, why skip your first land drop to discard on the play instead of second land drop in case I draw Unmarked Grave? Usually it's so I can cast a 1 mana spell on turn 2, but I guess that was not going to happen this game, so maybe that was the better line. I'm just getting basic Swamp here to keep my life total as high as possible. Is this Devoted Druid Luxor deck with worse mana? That's what it looks like. It looks like they're playing the Devoted Druid Luxor Rocco deck. Maybe not with Rocco, but they're playing Elvish Reclaimer, and I'm not sure why. But they might pop in the chat and tell us what the idea is. But it looks like they're playing a variation of this brew, which is really cool. I've been kind of meaning to return to it, but... This is one of those where we had like a pretty good stream, or 2 streams with it, and then I wasn't sure how to improve it, and I had other stuff to work on, kind of moved on. Can they grab a Shadow Spear, which should be fine. So we're taking 7 down to 6. Then we persist Archon, go up to 9. And then if we take another 7, we die to the Pyrite Spellbomb. But I could also just persist again next turn. B. Anderson, thank you for the 5-pack. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, having to jump block here is not very good. I have to draw like Ephemerate and or Solitude. If only I could just like get 1 higher life point. For those of you saying Archon gets exiled, it doesn't, by the way. Thank you again, Anderson. If you got to give some stuff for Anderson, make sure to thank them. If you got something you want to say, Anderson, you can. I have another Saga in the hand. Ephemerate would be good. Solitude would be good. Missed on our first look here. It's tier 1 for 6 months in advance. That's a fun message. Thank you. Okay, so I cast Stony Silence. I guess I could Rites my Archon back next turn, and Stony Silence turns off the Graveyard Hate. I'm also, I guess, surviving an Archon attack, right? Hold on. So they make a Saga token. Then they Spellbomb me down to 8. I think I'm probably gonna have to win game 3. Yeah. So the exile trigger on Cauldron only happens if the they drew a card. They drew a card that's huge, right? Yeah, only if the Archon doesn't die to the damage. If the Archon dies to damage, the Archon's already dead, and the exile trigger doesn't exile it. I know it's a bit funky, but now they can make a Saga token, and their construct's gonna be a 5/5, and I have to block again. But I can trade with the construct token. No, I can't, because then they can make it a 6/6 with the second Saga. Fuck. Ordinary Hands, the gifted sub. Thank you. Not sure why Ordinary Hands gifted sub has hearts all around it for me. I don't know why. You get Expedition Map. Block here. Take 6, go to 4. I mean, I can still probably draw Persist into Ephemerate or white card Solitude. Aren't I dead on board? I'm not block, but I'm unlikely to be able to survive the next turn. Yeah, Solitude white card. I don't even know if it's enough to do it. And I mean now I just Rites the Archon. They go to 30, and I die in the crackback, so I have to be on the play for game 3. Stony's definitely looking okay. They're playing Expedition Map. They're playing, you know, this stops the Stoneforge combo, stops the Devoted Druid plus Longbow, Devoted Druid plus Gift. The Bajuka Bog is definitely looking obnoxious. Ashiok also turns off Stoneforge Mystic Tutor. I think I like my sideboard plan. Prismatic. I don't know, it's just like, I feel like usually your Archon plan is able to beat like the Call just Stoneforge Mystic plan. We just got bogged, so they like slow me down 2 turns. Close hand. I think I'm gonna mulligan. Go to 5. I think opponent will share their list. You can ask them when they pop back into chat. I would imagine they would. Go to 4. Man, this hand is so much better as 5 because I just keep these. I think this has to be my 4. Definitely the best looking hand so far. Prismatic the Germ. Again, like people, I don't think that you're supposed to have the, like you have Solitude for Germ tokens. You have Solitude for like these plans anyways. Prismatic Ending is not bad against my opponent's deck, but like we're playing a combo deck. We have to like maintain our synergies. It's very important to do so. Irv, thank you for the Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. So I think if my opponent leaves up Elvish Reclaimer activation... Oh, dude, so much graveyard hate. Do I take a draw step? No, I think I just cast the Tainted Indulgence and I try to find Aethermage's Touch. If this was a 5-card hand and my mystery card was an Aethermage's Touch, I'd definitely be feeling a lot better, but... I think I do still have to use my mana. Maybe I find Ashiok. Ding, 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 ding. It's so good. It's so good that you get to force the graveyard hate with the Cottage. I'm just like still like nerding over about like how I'm going to be able to Cottage here. I'm going to force an Elvish Reclaimer for Bog or Soulguide Lantern Sack, and I still get to cast the Aethermage's Touch and hope to high roll. I think that that's like kind of the best part about this deck. I'm going to grab Shadow Spears. They must already have Cauldron in hand. Yeah, you'll have to wait for my hour-long video. Oh no, this needed to be like a little bit deeper in the library. If they don't, assuming they don't spellbomb me. I have an hour-long video coming out about the Fortnite secret lair, though. It's very serious. You'll have to wait for that. Okay, this has also been happening a lot. Like, my opponents just don't want to crack the spellbomb on the Cottage, and they just, you know, they just keep getting Aethermaged. But they just like really don't want to. They don't want a lantern. So if we can just dodge a removal spell on the Archon, I think we might be winning this mull to 4. Yeah, dude, imagine Thought Scour evolving as like a popular card in Murktide to counter this deck. If you have much success yet with single graveyard hit pieces, waiting to crack a fetch and dropping a second fetch, I don't think I've taken that line yet. That probably comes up at some point. They sack Stoneforge Mystic, so their Cauldron is now stranded in their hand. I don't think there's anything Elvish Reclaimer can tutor for, though, that's going to be able to deal with my Archon. We're not casting their instep to stop them. So both of their creatures have abilities, right? The Stoneforge Mystic and the Elvish Reclaimer. They tutored Shadow Spear, so they almost definitely have Cauldron in their hand. So if I go on instep here and they sack their Stoneforge Mystic, they can't go, like, put Cauldron to play, then sack the Stoneforge Mystic. Like, they either have to say they don't get an Elvish Reclaimer activation or a Stoneforge Mystic activation. If I wait on the Archon, then they're going to get one of those activations, and I don't think their deck like is playing Solitude, maybe, or maybe not playing Path to Exile. I guess if they're playing something similar to my list, there's one Solitude as an Eldarmy's call target. What's weird is they revealed Giganta game 1. What's really weird is they revealed Giganta game 1. So they're not playing Fire Finale. I don't know what their build looks like. I don't know why they're playing Elvish Reclaimer, and they're making their mana like really awkward with like Kessig Wolf Run and Bajuka Bog in a deck that's already playing Urza Saga. They're probably just green-white, but I don't think that there's any sorcery speed removal I'm like really afraid of. They grab Luxior, Yada's Gift. Then they have a third Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, Aethermage such as your instep. So you could do it on your, you could cast it on your instep, and then it stays around. You get to attack with it, then you get to Ephemerate. One Brutality over third Cottage. I like the third Cottage a lot. I recommend the third Cottage. Brutality is kind of weak. Also, that's not a card I have particularly liked in like any deck, even even like as like an anti-burn card. It's been kind of mediocre for me lately. This is a mull to 4. Are they dead? Oh, they're just dead. Dude, Archon's nuts. It's gonna be 33-11, so clean 75% win rate. Yeah, we had the record wrong. We had the record wrong. I retyped it in this morning. I misremembered what it was, the overall record. But then we also, I think, O2 to league, so it was a bad couple minutes for the deck. Also 5-0'd to first league of the day. 5-0'd on Tuesday. What's the best record I've ever had? You think I'd remember? I've been 15-0 on stream before with the deck. Can't remember which one it was. I remember I finally did it with something though. I lost playing for 15-0 with Jeskai Cleansing Wildfire Control. What was the 15-0 deck? It was red black. Yeah, it must have been red black. It's an 80 card deck. Hope we keep playing against Yorion decks. I'm like, oh, Omnath is a good matchup, and we're just like against like, goofy death and taxes or something. I'm accepting deck techs every day. Close hand. So I think with this hand, I'm gonna put back the Solitude, and then I don't think I need to Grief on turn 1. I may draw an Ephemerate, just gonna get my Triumph and pass. I'm going to be pitching this Archon probably, then entombing one, and then I could draw lands, Aethermage's Touch, I could draw Persist. Yeah, it's awesome how like Aethermage's Touch, like powered up an archetype we've played like hundreds of matches of before. Just like the perfect fit. Okay, so now the question becomes, how much do I care about Rin and 6? I think I don't care enough about it to just like Grief here. Now I get to Indulgence and pitch the Unmarked Grave to the Grief. Think the Goryo's version has legs? I played the Goryo's version off stream. I was like 2-1. It felt like reasonable. But I really felt the lack of Unmarked Grave. I felt the lack of Mulldrifter. The mana was awkward with Tainted or Faithful Mending instead of just Indulgence, Unmarked Grave. And so I'm of the opinion that this is the better version, but I don't think that the like Goryo's version is bad necessarily. Alright, no land in the next 3, unfortunately. Yeah, they don't have a fetch land for their Rin though, so that's kind of nice. They do have double endurance, but I can maybe try to beat that with the Aethermage's Touch, and we'll see. Just have to draw some fetches. They're playing Cavern also. They drew a fetch land for their Rin. If I bump into a Fan RL, will I give a paper deck for $10 cash? No, I'm not, you know, your puppet, but I'll talk to you. If you ask a question, I'll answer it, but I'm not, you know, I'm not on the clock at a paper event, you know. Alright, get the standing desk up. Don't think I'm supposed to Solitude the Endurance super aggressively here. Weird game. They shock, so they probably have Omnath, right? Teferi. It's good. I draw a tapped Cottage. Brutal. I think I have to Solitude the Endurance so that I could hit a Archon off my Aethermage's Touch and make them sack one of the Planeswalkers, but probably just go to game 2. Probably just go into game 2. So I'll be bringing in Teferi Time Raveler because their graveyard hate of choice is Endurance. Might be playing Thoughtseize too. I think I might just concede. Even if we like main phase Touch, it bounces back on our instep. Yeah, mental health concession, I think. Any interest in Ashiok in the play? I think that Ashiok just to turn off. I am not of the opinion Ashiok is good against 4-color. It has its moments, but like it's not that hard for them to answer. It's not that hard for them to have lands in their hand that aren't fetch lands and just ignore it. I think that again, this is not a control deck. This is not a mid-range deck. This is you have to think of this as a like pure combo deck, and I don't think it's good to like sideboard like you're just, you know, oh, Ashiok will be good sometimes, and I have a lot of 1-for-1s. If that makes sense. Okay, I think I'm cutting 4th Solitude, 4th Unmarked Grave for the 2 Teferis and not bringing in Thoughtseize. What's standing desk do I own? It's a IKEA standing desk. I don't know exactly which one. But it's nice, I like it. I feel like it makes me higher energy. I feel like it makes me a little healthier. It's fun to bounce around on stream, too. I also am just kind of tired of sitting all day, every day. Do you feel weird at paper not verbally talking through every play? No. I used to say that I mean, I definitely still have lifetime played way more matches of Magic off stream, either on Magic Online or in paper than on stream, you know. And for a long time, like, it was definitely like more paper matches than Magic Online matches because I just used to play so much. But I think that that's like not been the case for a little while now. But for a long time, I think it was still true. Okay, we'll keep this. Broken draw. I maintain the drive to actually want to play Moto off stream when I play 5-6 hours every stream every day. I mean, I just love what I do. I love Magic. I love, you know, sharing my ideas with chat. I love to think and write and like solve problems and deck build and build decks well. It's just, you know, I just love what I do, so I'm able to keep doing it. And sometimes, you know, I'll take a break, right? Like Monday I had a really busy day. I worked like for like 3 hours on an off stream. I did the stream. I worked like 3 hours on an off stream project, and then I wrote a Channel Fireball article and did a Channel Fireball video and play tested a deck. And so I was working from like, you know, 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. And then Tuesday I did the stream and I just played. I just took a break. I just played Persona. After I did play test the Goryo's Vengeance version of this deck, like 2-1 drop. Just played Persona. And so like I think finding a balance is important. Like taking a break is important, and like if I am ever feeling burned out, which is not that often, but it is sometimes the case. But if I ever do feel burned out, I think I'm pretty good about taking a break if I need it. Get a pretty good draw. Just don't need it that often. Ever consider streaming sealed or limited while preparing for a big tournament? I mean, I would consider it, but I would want to be really knowledgeable on the sealed format, you know, because like I'm really happy that I always take the time to like learn and play test off stream. Like when I was returning to Pioneer, I took the time to like relearn the format off stream. I took the time to play test decks off stream, and even then, like I wasn't like super familiar with the format, but I'm glad I took the time to do so. So I think it makes the quality of the stream better if I'm not just like here live learning for the first time. I think it gets to be a better use of your time to come here, knowing that I've put in the hours, I put in the effort to learn off stream, so we can have better conversations, so I can impart better knowledge, and I can feel more confident streaming too if I've taken the time. Yellow hat, yellow hat. Ba 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 ba. Thank you, Gab, for the raid. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to all the yellow hat or pigeons. We play more of the Aethermage's Touch Reanimator. Really, really liking this deck so far. We're 33 and 11 with it. Does Moto get expensive? I usually make money playing Magic Online. I can't tell you the last time I had to buy tickets. Oh no, I actually bought tickets. No, I bought tickets today actually, so I could finish up my playset of Thoughtseizes, but that's a bit different. But I have, you know, like 2,000 play points right now. Sometimes I have more, sometimes I have less. By bringing Ashiok enough to justify it over a third copy of Teferi. Well, the idea is Ashiok comes in a different spread of matchups. Like Teferi is good against Leyline of the Void and Endurance. It's the main reason I want Teferi. And then Ashiok is for the Titan matchups with incidental value against like Living End and Dredge and the Mirror. I think I'm just supposed to cast Unmarked Grave. Do I have a favorite budget archetype list paper for Modern? I built a lot of budget decks for Modern. You can find them on Channel Fireball, but I don't know if I have. My favorite one was a mono black list that played Luris, and now Luris is banned, so I don't think I currently have one. Fetal Position, you could use the name. Thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. And then Wolf Skull with the 8 months. Put it with a weird draw. They probably have an Endurance if they're going to keep a hand like this. So I kind of don't want to put the other Archon in the yard yet. Probably okay too though. Maybe I just actually, so I can go, my options this turn are to hardcast Grief, just evoke Mulldrifter, Mulldrifter Ephemerate without Grief, look at their hand, and then decide if I want to Ephemerate the Grief or Ephemerate the Mulldrifter, and I think I like that line the most. Rackham, think of the 6 months. Okay, so they have Solitude, Endurance, Ephemerate, Force of Negation. Pretty good hand. I think I like take Omnath, Mulldrifter, Ephemerate, Mulldrifter, and if they want a Solitude pitch Endurance, that's fine. And then I can also put Grief on top to take the Endurance next turn if I want to. I don't know. I'm just gonna Mulldrifter next turn. I can Grief back the Cottage, make the Grief later. Yeah, so they're almost definitely gonna Solitude, pitch Ephemerate here, or Hardcast Force is also fine, I guess. And now next turn I can go Cottage, target Archon, and if they like to stop this, they have to. To stop this, they have to Grief right now, which would be fine. And then maybe I just hardcast Mulldrifter, and they don't do that. So I'm going to upkeep Aethermage's Touch, I think. Try to play around another top deck Force. Also, they may just like cast Endurance into turn, but I kind of doubt that they would ever. Yes, I meant Solitude, Fitch Ephemerate. Sorry, wrong E card. Why not Teferi? I mean, I think that this is fine. This is a bit better. Maybe Teferi sets up a bit better for this in a couple turns. I'm like totally okay just like trading here though, like the Archon triggers for the hardcast Solitude and their churn. Their hand is currently Endurance, Ephemerate, Mystery card, Solitude, Mystery card. So I think they have Teferi. Okay, that's fine. We're getting pretty pretty close to hardcast Archon territory, which is my favorite territory, I guess. I guess the ability to like persist a Grief here, or maybe Mulldrifter is better. Good enough to play this Teferi. Yeah, I'll just persist the Mulldrifter. You telegraph second Ephemerate? Oh, I don't have second Ephemerate. So if I Ephemerate, my Mulldrifter here, I go down to 5 cards, up to 7. If I draw a card off Teferi, then I have to go to discard for turn. I think I just wait. I don't think I need to do anything. Oh, you mean I was trying to force my opponent to play around it? I guess maybe. I don't hold up the white mana. I will say, I think that like a lot of like high-level players like trick themselves a little much. Like, you have a white mana up. You obviously have Ephemerate here. It's just like... I don't know. Like, you have a black mana up. You must have Fatal Push. And they play around it the whole game and they just never have it. I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it too, but it's something I notice a lot. You just kind of like level yourself. Why not Persist Grief? I think that Mulldrifter drawing 2 is better than taking... Like, my opponent's hand is not very good right now. Endurance, Solitude, Ephemerate. Like, the Teferi is checking all of those cards really well. Maybe I'll want to Persist the Grief later. Maybe I want to save Persist to Persist an Archon of Cruelty if I can draw an Unmarked Grave or Tainted Indulgence. So I could also Witch's Cottage back Grief this turn, potentially. Just have a lot of options. Although I guess I don't need to do it end of turn, because I could just take my draw, then draw into it off Teferi if I wanted to. Yeah, Hearthstone mode engaged. Morrison, thank you for the 8 months. And Busy Hands too. Glad you're liking the streams. Yeah, a lot of times a lot of times you can like level higher level players because you know that they're playing around stuff that like, you know, less experienced players wouldn't be. So I'm not gonna be able to hardcast Archon this turn. Getting pretty close to next turn though. I think I'm just gonna Mulldrifter. I know a lot of players are not like used to the just outgrind the Omnath deck plan, but that's definitely where we're at the moment. And I think since I think that I'm gonna now Persist the Grief. I could trade it with the attacking Solitude maybe. Eldarmy's Call, Ephemerate, Endurance. Took the call. And plus here, pass. The worst is when you bluff something for 5 turns, the opponent constantly plays around, and then you actually draw the card. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Bluffing in Magic is fun, though. Like, I'm not saying never bluff, but it can be easy to, like, just level yourself, and, you know, always have to make sure your bluffs make sense. Okay, so now I get to go bounce Endurance, kill Teferi, kill Teferi, Unmarked Grave, Unburial Rites, Ephemerate, Grief, I guess. Pretty good turn. Alright. Oh, we have Teferi in place, so they can't Endurance. This is like an easy keep on the draw. We're on the play though. Hand's really good if we draw. What if can I keep this and just like go to discard on turn 2? It's so slow. I can go to discard on turn 2, then I can Grief on turn 3, Persist on turn 4. I feel like a turn 4 Archon with a Grief is not a bad hand. I'm gonna keep it. I can also draw Unmarked Grave or Tainted Indulgence on turn 2 and just play my land. Ragavan. Ooh. Okay, I did draw it. Alright. Obviously, so now we played the land, and we're just like in such better shape, but whatever. Oh, the Stoneblade deck. Okay. I should probably take the Ranger Captain, because they can sack my upkeep, stop the Persist. This turn, if they go Fervent Champion, Stoneforge Mystic. Next turn I go Tainted Indulgence. They hit me with the Sword of Fire Ice. So much damage, though. So much damage. The Ranger Captain slows me down so much, too, though. Their hand's really good. Maybe draw Solitude, white card. Draw another Grief. Take a turn off to Persist, Grief the Sword. I kind of like that idea. We get to block too. The sword is really important in their hand. Yeah, I guess that's correct. I've said this a bunch, and obviously this hand is probably not actually like that good an example of this. But a huge part of like the old version is you could just never waste a persist. Like my brain is still like in the zone that like I would not like think that like using persist here is good because you could just like never spin and persist inefficiently. But now that you have 4 more cheetah creature to play cards with the Aethermage's touch, you can't just like persist here really easily. It's really, really interesting dynamic. So they do have another Ragavan in the hands. You guys still trade. Okay, it's a good draw, especially if we draw land. Alright, we just have to survive. They dash Ragavan, that's 4/6. Should be fine. No! They have a land evoking Mulldrifter, is not too bad, but probably beating it. Boros Charm incoming. Well, thankfully I built my opponent's deck and I wasn't playing Boros Charm. I guess I shouldn't have 6 because they might have Blood Moon. Because some of the versions play Moon in the main. Would take a lot of work to spice those some extra aggressive brands and a couple opposite. It's a completely different build, but you don't have to do the work because I've done it for you. I playtested a couple of leagues with this. I think it's worse than the other version. Your mana's worse because you're playing Faithful Mending, and you don't get Unmarked Grave, and you don't get Mulldrifter. But it is like very powerful to put Gristlebrand and you can get Taxus into play. Definitely the higher upside deck, but I think worse overall. I haven't posted to the stream deck or anything, but you can, there you go. That's what you want to do. I built it for you already. Has Tainted Indulgence not discarding Graver come up? It's come up, but when it's come up, it like hasn't been a problem because it's like super duper late game. I would not be worried about it. Well, they do have Blood Moon. I guess they can't find Solitude and a white card in this draw step, so it should be pretty safe to Ephemerate. The problem with that build is there's 0 synergy. You can actually remake cards to elementals or running into. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a problem, but you also like don't persist your incarnations that often. I know we did it here. There's some tension. I'm not gonna pretend like there's no tension there, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. Okay, so my opponent's on Rest in Peace. So we're gonna be on the Prismatic Endings here. Could consider bringing in Stony Silence, but again, you're like a true combo deck, so you just kind of have to sideboard it again against their hate, and you can't really afford to sideboard against. You can't. I don't think you could really afford to sideboard against their like more fair draws. I'm gonna cut the 4th Unmarked Grave, keeping 1 Mulldrifter. Could cut the 4th Ephemerate because we trimmed on Drifters. Okay, yeah, I think I'll maybe play 2 Drifter, 3 Ephemerate, especially because I have more white cards to pitch to Solitude because I brought in the endings. Desik, 3 months. I don't know what it is to talk about the value of playing 50 or 45 cards over 60. How much easier would it come with 45 cards by going crazy thanks to the content? Well, I can't tell if you're trolling. But the 60 cards is the least you can play in a match of Magic the Gathering. It's the minimum. But yeah, combo decks would definitely play 40, 45, 30, I don't know. Not something I've ever really had to think about because it's not legal. But also, you might just be you're probably joking, but if you're not, that's why. Okay, I do have the Rest in Peace. Unfortunately, I don't. The Sentinel is really good here. I have to ending this though, but I guess with this draw especially, I could just take a turn off and not give them the cards. Is Ephemerate primarily for anti-hate? Yeah, every single sideboard card with the exception of Terastodon and Ashiok are anti-graveyard hate sideboard cards. Teferi is good against Endurance. Leyline of the Void. Thoughtseize is good against Endurance. Although they don't bring it in against every Endurance deck. It's also like partially for big mana decks. Stony Silence is good against artifact-based graveyard hate. Oh, brutal. Sentinel and the Rest in Peace of the Blood Moon is quite the curve. And now I can't get rid of Rest in Peace this game. I'm just gonna concede. Yeah, so Thoughtseize beats Endurance, Teferi beats Endurance Leyline, Stony Silence beats Artifact-based Graveyard Hate, Prismatic Ending beats Sanctifier, Rest in Peace, and some Artifact-based Graveyard Hate. Okay, easy keep. I'm not completely convinced the Priest of Ference is only 2 that has against Aethermage just touch the board's list. I mean, you could play Priest. Like another like really important thing to keep in mind though is like Aethermage's touch or Priest of Ference is weak, right? It's not a good card. You know what I mean? Like, I've played a lot of Reanimator shells. Priest of Ference always feels like the worst card, and so. Like, you can play one over the Unburial Rites, and it has more synergy in the deck, but it's like, I think worse as an Unmarked Grave target than the Unburial Rites. It always feels like the worst card in the deck, and, you know, every deck building decision ever, this deck included, of course, is usually going to be a decision based on the axis of power level versus consistency. And in my opinion, the added consistency that Priest of Ference gives you does not compensate for the diminished power level that occurs when you include Priest of Ference in your list. It's okay to disagree on that, and you know, you could even be right, but that is why I have the stance I have. Ooh, I'm gonna pitch that actually. Am I gonna pitch Archon or Unmarked Grave though? Probably Archon. Any predictions for Brothers War? I don't know why people ask, to be honest. Why people ask like what predictions I have. I don't know. I don't know what's in the set. We'll see. I have no idea. I don't know that anybody has ever been able to make an accurate prediction about a future Magic set without any insider knowledge, you know. Wait, didn't they play Stoneforge Mystic? When did they play Stoneforge Mystic? Oh, they drew. I think they drew 2 Stoneforge Mystics. They drew one off Indulgence, and then they drew one off Persist. That's kind of the only thing that makes sense there. We predicted Triumph and Capenna. I guess, sure. You got me. Okay, they got Giant Killer off the Ranger Captain. Gonna hold the Ephemerate for that. Yeah, Cottage is really good against Graveyard Hate. Although I guess here maybe I'm just supposed to... Probably just supposed to Cottage back Grief, right? Kind of worse against a Blood Moon, but I think I'm beating a Blood Moon. Yeah, I'm beating a Blood Moon. This reminds me of Uro Mystic Sanctuary back Cryptic Command. Okay, our second 4-0 of the day. We were able to convert on the trophy earlier. Let's see if we could get 2 trophies today. Prediction is live. Let me update the overall record to 35-11. I tested Mill in Modern. I've played very little Mill. I've played some. Mill is a good deck, though. I know that twitch.tv/demonic tutors, he likes to play Mill sometimes. Burn? Hopefully. Yeah, but I know he likes to play Mill usually. Yeah, so just having Unmarked Grave persist against Burn is exactly what you want. It'd be a little bit better to have won the die roll, but you can't have everything, I guess. Ouch. Yeah, Tutors is great. Tutors, after the trophy race, he gave me and Esther Athena keychains, which were very cute. But he didn't want me to know he was up to something, so he had his cousin Amy ask me for pictures of Athena, which was funny. Okay, did Boros Charm off the top, I guess. Very good draw from my opponent, but they go to no cards in their hand, and we have an Archon of Cruelty in play. They discarded Boros Charm too. That's gotta sting. Although it'll sting less if they draw it now. If they draw Boros Charm right now, it'll sting less. Okay, so control land and get Crack Canyon into Boros Charm. Okay. I forgot about that. Oh, that would have been a cool one to lose. Alright, so this matchup, I've been bringing in Prismatic Ending over Mulldrifter and clicking the submit button. Am I bringing against Titan? I'm usually bringing in the Thoughtseize, Ashiok, and Terastodon against Titan. I think cutting, like, definitely the 4 Mulldrifters. The sideboard plans are changing a little bit, but I think you cut 4 Mulldrifters, 1 Ephemerate, and then, like, 1 Tainted Indulgence, or 1 Rites, or 1 Aethermage's Touch. I guess I keep this on the draw against Burn. How's Ashiok doing? I think it's fine. Like, it's mostly anti-Titan sideboard card, anti-Graveyard sideboard card. I have like 1 flex spot. I kind of wanted to like try it out. It hasn't like really done anything today, I think. Just wish we could have a companion there instead. But Kihira does not Orphan Guard Archons for some reason. Okay, so... Sorry, I gotta adjust the desk, just gonna pass. Yeah, I'm almost done with my Channel Fireball article for the deck. It should be submitted tonight and up tomorrow, assuming the editor is gonna be that fast on the turnaround, which they might not be, because we'll see, right? I think just pass. Weird game. 4 cards in their hand. I'm at 13 life. Main phase Helix. They probably skewer. Kind of a weird turn, but I think I'm supposed to go Grief and then Solitude my own Grief. And then I can get a Triome here, and then I can go next turn Cottage back my Solitude and have the Lifelinker in play. The toughest matchups are Rhinos and Mono Green Tron, I think. Yeah. And thankfully, like, part of the reason why we're doing so well is neither of those decks are super popular at the moment. Down to 4, so if I cock this fetch, I'm dead to another Boros Charm. So be it. Murktide always hard for me. I'm like currently 4-2 or 5-2 against Murktide. I would definitely not view the matchup as good, but I would certainly view it as close. And I've been beating it, and the Aethermage's Touch I think is a really big factor in kind of swinging that matchup back closer towards even. Okay, they play Melted for turn. If they have Searing Blaze, we're dead. If they have any instant speed burn spell, we're dead. If not, we vote 3-2 Lifelinker against Burn. Thoughts on the Goblins matchup? I don't know. I think Reanimator, I usually like Reanimator against Goblins, but Goblins is kind of off meta enough that I don't have enough experience to say for sure. I was thinking maybe they had Haste Creature in their hand because they knew we had Solitude, but not for sure. Brutality could be good. I don't know that I would say it would be bad, but it's like really only good in the Burn matchup, and Burn is a favorable matchup, as you can probably see from this game. Maybe we lose, right? 3, 6, 7. Deciding E, help first falls to the Ashiok. I mean, the problem with the Rhinos matchup is that they have Force of Negation, and they have bounce spells, and they have endurance, and so like you're not like the Rhinos part of the matchup is not really the problem. It's the everything else. One land shy of Hardcast Archon. 2 cards in their hand. Maybe they have another path. Persist is interesting. If they have another path, I don't have another basic. Down to 1, so the only way to hardcast this is to draw a Witch's Cottage. Thankfully, just draw an Unmarked Grave. They might have a path, though. They might have a path. But then we could go up to 4, and then this is back online. So yeah, if they go path my Archon, if they go path Archon, I just don't need to attack. I'm not winning this game via race. Like they could go like Swift Spear path, and if I attack, I take 2, and then like I die to like Boros, maybe, probably not. But I'm winning this game like either by a ton or I'm getting burned out. I'm not like tempo racing them at all. They Lava Spike me down to 1. Now Solitude probably means I can't lose here. Yeah, GG. So just to maximize my value, I don't really need to do this, I guess, but I can go Solitude my own grief, Cottage back Solitude, hardcast Archon. Okay. And just the Solitude was good enough, and we get our second trophy of the day, which is very exciting. It's been a long time since we trophied twice in one day. I'm definitely having a good enough time to run it back, just see what's in the chests. Ooh, Teferi poking out down here. It's good open. Good packs. Pretty exciting.